here today. A lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces. So that feels really good to be in the space with you. So this is like the land of the misfit toys. You guys are in a big company. So often I have to kind of feel out the room to know how much I can say or not say. So I'm just going to kind of lay it on the line. So dudes, like you're in the middle of the major planetary shift, right? You guys know we're standing up the new Earth. And we just need to start claiming that's what's happening. If this doesn't resonate with you, don't worry, you're going to find your piece in the puzzle. Because by 2026, we should be walking in the new Earth. So I'm like, what is my life about? Well, I keep hearing somehow, I can't believe you did that. So something about disillusionment is in my DNA. I'm here to be the bridge between our current 3D reality and all this new awakening information that we're beginning to resonate with, right? It's that inner awakening that we're going through. And as we feel that calling and that yearning, you can't shut that door. Like, it's open. And then you find yourself in spaces like this with people who are resonating and vibing with you. So as we vibrate together, now not coming from a place of the mind and how the pieces fit together that way, but now really connecting with the heart space. In that idea that everything is interconnected. Right, once we tap into that interconnected web of resonance and energy, all the solutions to every question, the quest ion, it's a charge of light that's on a quest, has a solution that's already there, and now we just have to match our resonance. It's all the damn shit we already know, but now it's time for each and every one of us to really apply it moment to moment, to stay aligned and awakened, and to now just walk in our truth so that we can usher in this new resonance, this new paradigm that's like literally right there because we've already dreamed it. And if you haven't dreamed it, sit down and figure out what does utopia look like for you, and then all the resistance that comes up, there's your work. All the resistance that says we can't have that here on Earth, that's your work. And once you really transcend those limiting beliefs, the cognition, how we know the light, cognitive is how we know, and then you deal with the emotional charge, emitting the ion, that's how then your imprint of holographic energy has that distortion that you're then seeing through your perception. So once you deal with the cognition by aligning with the emotions, you can literally transmute the transmuted ion, the transmutation of any limiting belief that you have. So utopia is already here. We just have to get cleaned up to let it in. So I do that individually with unscripted way. Ionation, ion and ion is raising consciousness, one particle of energy, one charge of light at a time, in honoring the law of one, and that resonance that everything comes from some source vibration. And as we unite and allow ourselves to flow in that source vibration, freaking miracles happen. Miracles aren't really miracles. That's just the way synchronization works. Synchronized ion. When you're aligned, everything flows, right? You guys know this, and it's just time for us to be in the movement of it together. And the more awakened and aligned we are, magic's going to happen. So as we're popping open, it's time to share our messages and communities like this and get it out in the world. So as Jamie mentioned, many of us have shows and lighten up, and then why not make spirituality fun? We got mediums high too. So as we're talking about standing up the new Earth, if you think about civilization, civilized at ion, ain't so civil right now. Let's get it to the next level of civilization. As we invite this next level of civilization and this evolution, it can be done with a greater amount of consciousness when we recognize that a system is not just a sum of its parts. Your automobile doesn't run just because of parts together. There's an energy behind the parts that makes it move. So a system isn't just a simple sum of its parts, but we love to tinker with parts. But what if we focused on the essence? Because a system is the sum of its parts interactions, interact ions. Again, we come back to this idea that if we change the essence, we can change the form. We've just been going about it the other way. So now we can hit it through the undercurrent of shifting the energy, the vibration, the resonance, resonance. It's all vibration. It's all the vibrational language. And as we peel back and disillusion, the illusion is nothing but it's a parody of energy, right? If you look at the etymology. So when we peel away from the illusion of this 3D reality, we start to work with the flow of vibration and energy. Through shifting our thoughts and our point of attention and attraction, we can stand up in the earth and actually change the system. And I do this 20 years in the corporate world. I'm really woo-woo, but I'm very grounded in how to how to create change at a systemic level. I'm a Six Sigma Lean Belt certified. I have a master's in conflict and an undergrad in IT. So everything to me literally is a computer algorithm, and we're all computer algorithms processing ion information, like to like talking, and we just got to clean up our algorithms now to resonate at a different collective vibration now, really just blow the roof off of what's possible. And we have 7 years to do it. So by 2026, this new earth, who's in? Woo, right? It's so possible. And when we're like, what the hell is she talking about? What's she smoking? I don't know, check out Medium's High. But guys, it's meant to be fun. And we're so serious and caught up in our own BS that as we connect and just start relating with one another, we realize the answers are there. Each of us, get this, are like individual cells now. So we have cells, and we're an individual cell. Imagine if each of us were resonating at our peak. And there are many amazing healthcare practitioners, integrative medicine practitioners in here who can get our body dancing at its unique resonance. So everyone has a unique vibrational pulsation frequency. Everything does, every thought even has its own frequency or vibration, because it's a distinct thing in all of creation. So you have your own unique vibrational signature, and you know when you're in that flow. When you're in that jam, you're like the damn antenna that knows how to synchronize and make stuff happen. So if we had a civilization where everyone was aligned and we had technology centers where you can walk in, we're going to talk about some of the technology in a moment, where right now, there's a software program running in Toronto that's attuning my energy field. That's the kind of power we have right now, is multiple times a day, my daughter and I and my home get attuned. And I get a freaking, I'll show you, an email that tells me which algorithms ran and for how long. So imagine now passive energy happening to us as practitioners to keep us in resonance, so we have fewer of those moments when we fall out of flow. And imagine when you're in your Zen state, you know, an hour can feel like a week's worth of productivity. And that's not woo-woo, like it's for real. So when you're resonating, when you're in alignment, you feel that inspired action, right? Where you know, well, it's time to pick up the phone and call da-da-da. I need to get my butt to the Center for Love and Light tonight, because I know there's something there for me. When you follow that inspired action, innovation starts to happen. That's where your creativity, that creation gets to flow from a deeper sense of resonance, where there's not that confusion. That confusion is simply reorganization happening. We're all going through that right now. But now the clarity is beginning to set in. So as an individual, as we're all aligned now as practitioners, imagine bringing together all the innovative ideas and solutions that are already there. You guys love your work, right? You know your modalities work. You know your jam. Because now as individual cells in the human body, and as an organism now, collective human organism on Gaia, imagine if you knew what your cell was designed to do. If you got to sing your song, you're like, I'm an artist, and this is what I do, and this is my contribution, my verse, that I will contribute to humanity, because I'm wired this way. I'm an emotional generator, and this is what I do. So if everyone that was then profiled and then had a choice to move in a direction that makes them sing, the innovations would just come pouring out, because we're nurturing the strengths, right? So then we get from ideation, materialization in a context, and this is what we're faced up against now, why community becomes so important. Because you can be aligned all day, but then you try to implement an idea and boom. There might be a legal issue for some of the medical practitioners in here who want to come out of the closet and disclose their technology. They're like, I might lose my license. So right now we're dealing now with the collective cultural and systems and structure changes that have to be realigned. Because once that happens, imagine, what if these systems and structures and culture was designed in a way where the only mission was to support progressive self-actualization? Imagine if each of you were designed and held by civilization to be your best at every moment. And when you weren't, it was okay too. If you want to unplug, that's okay too, because you're still a divine expression, but you're in a container that is nurturing your progressive self-actualization. What would happen to society? 7 years? I think we could do it in 5. End to end. I don't see why not, because it's all a hologram anyway. As I was getting ready for this meeting, the song I hadn't remembered since childhood popped into my head, because that's how intuition likes to work. And it said, row, row, row your boat, Darshana, gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 his life is but a dream. Don't forget the merrily part. And don't forget down the stream. And then eventually you remember you don't need the oars very often. They can come in the boat too. So that's what life is really supposed to be like when you're in the flow. And so when we're individually aligned, and in the context of the collective civilization, that is harnessing our energy in a way that honors that divine expression, but then wants to continually build that progression into this evolution, that's when the magic happens. So how do we do that? We got a plan, at least high level. So imagine, okay, so then we're thinking about how do we drive systemic change when civilization is complex. So we've got 12 main sectors, and this model comes from Barbara Marx Hubbard, who actually just transitioned before Earth Day on her 89th birthday. So she envisioned, I think she really planted the seed of consciousness for this evolution of humanity to move now to this next, literally a DNA shift that's happening as we start coming together, not only as unique cells, but now as a body of cells coming together. So these are the 12 sectors of society, everything from health and spirituality, science, media, justice, economics, education, environment, and of course governance is there too. So what if we had these pioneers in the middle with their visions, and many of the visions are already out there. Some of you are the pioneers in your field, in your industry, but then we begin to see how the puzzle pieces fit together. To me, we're on a scavenger hunt right now. We're all pieces of a puzzle. It's a scavenger hunt. You might as well have fun with it, right? Merrily, merrily. Yeah. And so pulling the technologies and the solutions and then figuring out, wow, that's a great program in education for preschool, but corporate's kind of like preschool. I wonder how we can adapt this program for the corporate world. And I think we might have some. So now we're looking at programs and creating like these best practice database where we can look at what's already working and celebrating what's working. We know energetically when you put your attention on what's already working, the resources and the energy will continue to flow in that direction. We can literally start turning away from what's not working, and that's part of the grid bridge, is to focus on what is working and then put the resources and the attention there. Passive non-resistance. Think about the energy in the system. We're all energy in the system. Passive non-resistance, Gandhi had it right for a reason. You redirect the energy and you'll collapse one system as you stand up anew. Okay, and that's why governance does become important in this. So if you're an attorney, we gotta talk. So this is the wheel of co-creation. So the idea then is to have a centralized council. This hasn't happened yet, but we're like having conversations with the global team, humanities team, also founded under Barbara Marx Hubbard's vision of conscious evolution. So humanities team is a global team that has a curriculum, classes, and so they churned out these world thinkers and leaders. But now it's time to like get everyone together, rally the troops, and understand who does what, who's got what resources, who needs what. Kind of like the space here, right, is a resource. Now we can begin looking at what do we all need now to flourish and go from individual to now collective. How do our puzzle pieces fit together? And so, you know, when we're looking at this, the first thing would be to start inventorying the talent and the solutions, and then I believe the next kind of organic step will start to happen as the resonance picks up. But Atlanta is a perfect spot. I mean, look at this room and all of the myriad of practitioners that are here. We have such an opportunity to be like a flagship, just a team, a hub, where we're showcasing the technologies and solutions that are already out there. I mean, this is just a list that Rebecca and I put together in a couple of minutes of the things that we're aware of. Like this is a harmonizer pendant that harmonizes the field in addition to the software program running that then sends you an email to tell you what's going on in your energy field and you know what was resolved, and then knowing your unique design, human design. You got the Enneagram, gene keys, so understanding how your profile is wired energetically is phenomenal. And so then you've got all of these amazing practitioners right here in Atlanta who are literally resetting your mitochondria. I mean, anti-aging is for real. It was designed for astronauts, but it has reversed, I think there are 15,000 documented cases of every disease getting really resolved. Then there's, what else did I want to speak to? Oh yeah, so then when you think about technology from an infrastructure standpoint, Peter Lombardi has this in, it's the intentional community of tomorrow. And he's designed one of my houses, which I have yet to build, but it's the cost of a normal home, but it'll last 200 to 300 years. So why are we throwing away homes instead of having them be legacy homes that actually produce more electricity than they consume? And then you have these interlocking communities of thrivability and self-sustaining. Like, guys, the solutions are already all there. And now we just have to bring them to the surface and start putting them together like puzzle pieces. Rebecca, did you want to talk about any of the Clearly Conscious?
Yeah, so Clearly Conscious is the group that I connect with in Toronto. So this is and they